Okay, so we're going to talk about the ls command here. Now, the ls command is used for listing files and directories. That's our eyes when we're moving around the file system. It allows us to see what files and folders we have in a given directory. The formula for using the ls command is ls. Then we provide an option. The ls command has a lot of options that modify its behavior. And then we provide the directory that we want to list, the directory we want to take a look at. ls is the equivalent of doing this. When you open a file manager, you already see what folders are in there. That's what the ls is in the terminal. It just lets you see what you have in there. The only difference is that using the terminal for viewing files and directories is much more efficient, because I can not only see the name of the file, but I can look at more information about the files if I want to. And I can sort this in any way I like, and I can save that to a file. Like, there's a bunch of things that I can do when I'm working on the terminal that I cannot do when I'm working graphically. And we're going to take a look at some of those things now. So, when you type the ls command on its own, just ls, it will tell you what you have inside your current working directory. So if I type ls, it's going to list what's inside downloads. Right now, I have nothing in the downloads folder, so let's put a couple of things in there. Let's open a file manager, and I'm going to go to downloads. And here, let me create a new folder. I'm going to call this example. Then I'm going to create a file. I'm going to call this example file. Right? And now, if I do ls one more time, notice that it shows me the two files that are right over here. Because like we said earlier, ls by itself will list the current working directory. But let's say that I want to see the files that I have inside the documents folder. Simple. I type ls and then documents. There is nothing in documents, so why don't we put a couple of things in there? Okay, so if I do the command one more time, notice that what we have in documents here is reflected right over here on our terminal, as we did the ls command. Let's get rid of this. Now, one of the beauty of the ls command is the many options that it gives you. Many options. Like, let's take a look at some of those options. Now, if when you do ls-a, it shows you all the files that are in your computer, including, or well, in the directory that you specify, including hidden files. When you press enter over here, notice that we have a couple of files and folders that start with a period. That indicates those folders are hidden. But that's another thing. We also have here two dots and a single dot. These two dots, like you know, represents the previous directory, whereas the single dot represents the current directory. See, if you don't want to see that in the output of ls, we can always use the capital A option, which removes those two periods from the output. Now, another option of the ls command is a long list. Long list allows us to see not only the name of the file, but also some metadata of the file, like its permissions, who owns it, the size, and the last time the file was modified. More things can be added, and this output also can be modified. We're going to explore that as we go on during the course. Now, let's take a look at some more examples of the ls command. If you want to see a list of files and then sort the output by the file that was modified last, you can use the T option. So we do ls-t. And notice that, well, let's combine it with an L so that we see also the metadata. So you see this file was modified October 15 at 1:49, and this one was modified on September 7th. So the one that was modified the last appears at the top, and the one that was modified the least appears at the bottom. You can revert this by doing the R option. So for example, if I put an R option as stated over here, it will reverse the order. Press enter and notice that now the file that was modified on September 7 appears first, and then the one that was modified today appears last. Another thing that we can do is that we can sort file by their file extension. That's very useful. So let's take a look and create a couple of files over here. So I'm going to create a file called file.docx, and I'm going to create another file called file.py. Let's do another one, file.rb. Let's do another one, file.html. Right? Now, let's list all the files inside the documents folder, right? Let's do a long list. Let's sort this by file extension. And now let's provide the directory we want to list, which is my documents directory. Notice that the first file that appears is docx because letter D goes before letter H, and then P, and then R. If you want to see all the options of the ls command, you can always do it doing ls --help. And this is going to show you all the options of the ls command and what each and every one of the options mean. They start with a hyphen and then the letter. Some of them are actually full word, for example, full time. Now this, instead of showing the short time that you see here, is going to show you the full time. So let's take a look at that. All the way to the second. Isn't that cool? Now, let's take a look at our practice in ls. Let's clear our screen and let's try to complete this. So, list all the files inside your home directory. So, what they're telling me is, show me all of these files. So, since I'm already in my home directory here, all I have to do is type ls, and this is going to show me all the files. However, this is not including hidden files. And the next question is asking us to include them. So we're going to do -a, and notice that now we are including hidden files. The next question says, include hidden files, but exclude the two periods and the period. So we're going to change it to capital A, and now we don't see these two files over here. Now we're going to do a long list. Again, the home directory, so no need for CD. And we're going to include hidden files. Oh, well, that's the repeat of the same question. I guess I should modify that. Let's do this one instead. Long list all the files in your home directory. Let's include hidden files and exclude the two periods, but we're going to classify the output. Now, what we're asking is option F. Now, if you open another terminal, right, let's just get rid of this. And we do ls --help. Option F over here, capital F, does classify, which means that at the end of the particular file and folder name, it's going to append a character that's going to tell us whether it is a regular file or it is a directory. So when you do that, there you go. That's what we need to do. So it's a long list, and notice that for every directory, it put a / in the end, letting us know that that is a directory. This is really useful when you don't have color coding. But since we're working on a terminal emulator, we have beautiful color coding and we kind of don't need it. But if you're working on a server, you might not have that color coding over there, and it's kind of useful to have the classify option on. Now we're going to list all the files inside this directory. Notice that now they are telling me list a folder that's not in your current working directory. For this we use absolute path. So we're going to do ls user share themes. And these are all the files and folders inside the user share themes. Now we're going to cd into this folder over here. So cd Now this is a two-part question. The first part is asking us to go to this folder. Now the second part tells us, from this location, right, from where you are right now, list all the files in your home directory. Okay, so we know we're going to do an ls. Classified, so we know it's going to be with option F. in a single column. Now, for a single column, and I encourage you to read these options, will be the last option over here for 1. So we know it's 1 column, and sorted by file size. So now you need to sort by file size. And to sort by file size, all you have to do is provide the S option. Sort by size, largest first. Capital S to be specific. So capital S. And now, which is the folder that we're listing? Well, we need to list our home directory. And remember that the home directory can be shorthanded by the tilde character. Now we just press enter over here, and we got exactly the output we were looking for, right? We get classified option over here, or everything is displayed to us in a single column. But there is a problem. See, it is sorted by file size. That is a fact. However, if as a user you want to see the size of the file, you will have to modify this command to include the L option. So we can get rid of the 1 here because long list is in a single column anyway. And I want to provide the H option here because I want the size of the files to be on a format that I can read and not in big numbers. As you can see, again, the largest files appear first and then the smallest files appears last. Now, change your current working directory to the downloads directory. So you're going to go to downloads. And from there, tell me everything that's inside Etsy. And then sort it by file extension. So we're going to do ls Etsy. And we're going to sort this by file extension. Again, done. How do you master this stuff? Practice and study. Again, I cannot emphasize that more. Working on the command line takes time. You need to practice and you need to study. This is the point of these videos, and it's the point of the practices that you have in the presentation. This is in your final. Everything that I cover here is in your final. I'll see you next time. If you have any requests for any other videos, please let me know, and I will make them available under the same series. Bye now.